It's going to be one of those things where I just work on stuff. So if you're happy with that, just sit back and relax, go to sleep, grab a coffee, have a beer. What am I going to do? So I got this little amp selector speaker chooser thing, the Fosi LC30 or something like that. Got lots of speaker holes and amp holes, and I've used it already, and I was comparing those guys with these guys. They're the topping B100s, and they're the Fosi V3 Monos, with and without the opamp upgrade. So I did do a off-camera test with the non-opamp versions, and they're pretty easy to tell, but against the B100s. So still big plus on these guys. I think I'm keeping them in the top end. I'm not sure how they're going to go if I try them on the 6-inch. So it goes tweeter, 2.5, 6, 8, 12-inch speakers in this car. So what I'm going to do today is wire up the amp chooser with the 6-inch channels, and I'm going to be doing A/B blind testing between a pair of V3 monos with V3 monos, and of course these have upgraded op amps and these don't. So that's that. First thing I do is I remove the left channel speakers from one of the amps. And this is where you have to kind of keep yourself sane. I'm going to pull that speaker left, and there's only going to be one speaker destination, so it will be speaker output A, left channel. So I'm just using these little test probe banana plug things, and they have a plastic shield and a plastic tip, so if you leave them bare they don't short on things. But the thing is, you can piggyback, so that's what we're going to do. I just use this piggyback system. I'm going to call yellow positive left amp feed, and there's still a bit of exposed metal there, which I'm going to have to use a bit of sticky tape on. So yes, this does end up looking pretty shambolic, but the beauty of this whole system is, once I close the boot and push everything back, it's all remote controlled, and I can actually drive around doing blind A/B testing. Or if I'm sitting still in the car park at Coles, you know, that sort of thing, I can just continue with my little tests. So that's the negative left speaker, 6-inch feed, and we've now piggybacked it, taken control, made sure it's not going to short on anything, but they'll go back there. So now we're going to go speaker A output, or speaker 1 output left. Positive was yellow, and negative was blue. Isn't that lovely? Yeah, back to blue colour. And while I'm here, 6-inch amp feed was Fosi V3 Mono, Sparkos enabled. So now I have to get amp feed left, amp feed B. Unravel that for a sec. Put this up here, put that there, put the stuff out of the way. How about a bit of light? There we go, a bit of light. That's amp feed B, left. And these ones are okay, they can touch each other, but once they're plugged in they won't. I don't know about these, these are like an Amazon, hey why don't you buy this kind of thing. They're kind of a DIY tip, and here if you bump it, they actually start to unscrew, and then yeah, so I don't really like them that much, but who knows, do the job. Positives on top by the looks, positives on the bottom, negatives on the top. Right, let's do the right channel. Borrow the speaker, feed to 6-inch, right channel. Let's get 2 more leads. Let's go red. Red is positive. Why not? Red is positive. Cover the brass, copper, whatever. So that's good. Put that in straight away. Right hand positive. Amp, or speaker, send. Speaker 1 right, positive. Green, negative. Right hand 6-inch speaker, send. Insulate, sticky tape, temporary. Negative, right hand, speaker feed into switcher. Now the only thing we're missing for our test is the second amp source. Hang on, I haven't finished. First amp, right hand feed. Make sure they're tight. Negative, positive on bottom, negative on top. There we go. So that's that puppy. The silvery ones there, and they're the Fosi thingies. There's my 3D printed thingy holder in the thingy rack. When your brain only has enough room for a certain amount of words. Okay. Amp, feed. I think I kept that left, right, but either way I can swap them when I start doing level matching. So here I have amp feed furthest amp. I'm going to just say it's left for now. Amp feed A. So that other one was amp feed B. If I have said it the wrong way, I'm sorry. Amp feed A. Let's call this left. And what colours? Blue is positive. And last time I did my tests, all the phases were correct between the amps, so I'll just keep this colour coding going. Yeah, because I would have noticed when switching amps, if I had a phase flip like left to right, well then that would be obvious, but if I had the group flipped, then I would have heard dips and changes between the amps when I was switching. And I was also verifying on a real-time spectrum analyzer that there was no frequency changing between the amps. Red is positive, durr. And that's finished. So this portion of this vid, I'll just push this back a bit, it's over. That's where that goes. And this is where this goes. I just make sure the wires aren't going to jump in the way. They seem to be alright there. The switcher sits here. I plug a USB into the battery backup system thingy, and infrared remote, which helps me turn this sucker on. Funny thing is, it remembers your last settings when you do a full cold power up, but it doesn't turn the unit on. Go figure. Or maybe it just always chose the amp I wanted. But we'll have to test that. Because you think there'd be an active solenoid, or maybe they've got like a switching kind of solenoid. So that gets USB power too. This joins my little car network, which is my phone, and everything else goes from there. Alright, that's maybe a separate upload. Maybe I'll do the level matching in another vid. Otherwise, we'll catch you